Last time I defined the law. You understood what the law is. It's different from simply rules. Now, there are two different schools of thought generally. There could be three. Sometimes there could even be four. But some people argue that where the law originates, or where the law comes from, the underlying philosophy of that law is more important than any other aspect of it. So there are even huge volumes or huge bodies of law study known as jurisprudence. They make arguments to and fro about where the law should come from, or where it must come from. Now, most of the components of the world, they believe that the law is rooted in morality. That school of thought is known as the naturalist school of thought. There is a belief that ethics, or the scientific study of morality, underwrites or is the burden that must be obviated for the truth to be found. So, what is morality? What is ethics? Now, those are concepts of right and wrong. So the law seems to stand in between the understanding that right must be sustained and wrong must be punished. That is the thinking pattern of most law thinkers. So if you belong to a religious elite or religious fraternity or circle, you might support laws that have very strong moral background. For instance, you call them good laws, and those laws that seem to lead into chaos, you might call them bad laws. I'll give a very good example. In countries where they have accepted same-sex marriages, the moralist might argue that that is a bad law. The reason the moralist might argue like that is because they believe that it's a bad law because the God whom they worship forbids two people of the same sex to get involved with each other in the body of intercourse. So they would think that according to the origin of their thinking and philosophy, same-sex marriage is wrong. That's just one school of thought. The second school of thought, they are known as realists. They look at law from the real, or the plus angle, the positive angle. Sometimes they are confused between the positivists and the realists. But in a way, they differ very sharply from the naturalists. To the realists, the law is what Parliament says it is. To them, they have no argument whether the law was passed in bad faith or in good faith. To them is what the law is. The moralist, their aim is what the law ought to be. But to the realist, the law is what it is. In other words, if they enact a same-sex marriage law, it is the law, and it's a good law, because Parliament says it is the law. So if you live in a country in which same-sex marriage has been passed, you must obey, because the realists will argue that the Parliament thought it through and believed that it is a right law. However, if you come from a country in which the legal tradition is imbued mostly on traditionalists and naturalists, they will argue very vehemently against the enactment of such laws. They would call them sinful laws. Now, it depends which school of thought you belong to when it comes to the law. So the next time you start to judge on those concepts, come back and listen to this presentation again. You might be a moralist or you might be a realist. Your views are very important in the way you define and even want to abide by the legal rules in your society. We'll make progress next time. Thank you.